We have brand new Warhammer 40,000 lore, and it's all surrounding the Nachmund Gauntlet. The big battle of the Imperium is upon us. This features Harken Worldclaimer, the Forces of Chaos, the Black Legion, Iron Warriors, other warbands. Abbadon is there, Celestine, the Sisters of Battle. There's so much going on in the Nachmund Gauntlet, and I think this is going to cause major waves going forward in the narrative. So let's jump in and let's go through it all. Now, this video is going to contain spoilers, so if you haven't read the Crusade book, Nachmund Gauntlet, and you don't want to be spoiled, then please leave the video right now. This is your first and only warning. Now, before we jump into the bulk of the new lore, I just want to explain what the Nachmund Gauntlet is for those people who may be confused. Now, the Nachmund Gauntlet is a passage through the Great Rift. The Great Rift, of course, has split the galaxy in half. Now, even though it's still dangerous to cross the Great Rift, this passage is the most stable to do so. Right now, in the current lore, this is the only known passage that would not wreak death and destruction on Imperial fleets trying to reinforce its Imperial worlds. At the northern end of the Gauntlet is Vigilus, which is a Bastion world. We all know Vigilus, Abbadon, Calgar, they fought on it. And at the southern end is Sanguine Terror, which is a fortress world keeping the forces of chaos at bay. So we open up the lore with a story, and we open it up with Harken Worldclaimer, who's been raiding and battling through the Nachmund Gauntlet. He's been taking Imperial world after Imperial world, resource worlds, just unleashing the forces of the Black Legion, destroying everything that he's coming across. He's managed to wreak havoc and destroy many systems belonging to the Imperium, and then he decides to open up communication with Abbadon. Abbadon then asks him about his progress. Harken asked Abbadon about Vigilus, and Abbadon replies something very, very interesting. Abbadon says, nothing can stop Vigilus's fall now. No release force can reach it in time, which means that Vigilus is about to fall. They're about to take that northern planet at the end of the Gauntlet. If they can control that, they can control one end. Now, with the Nachmund Gauntlet basically falling into the control of Chaos, or the majority of the control of Chaos, Abbadon wants to control the big entry point in the Imperium Sanctus at the southern end of the Gauntlet. He orders Harken to shatter the spirit of the Gordial subsector, break its defenses, and seize the planet of Sanguine Terror. This will be then the staging point for the next step in Abbadon's conquest in the galaxy. Now, to help Harken fulfill this task and take the fortress world of Sanguine Terror, Abbadon has sent none other than the Planet Killer warship, the ancient warship which has been theorized to be made by not humans, that is literally like the Death Star in space. It shoots this big beam and it can rip apart planets, destroy planets from orbit. That now is in the arsenal of Harken Worldclaimer as he sets his sights on the fortress world of Sanguine Terror. Now, in the background, we actually have details on the forces which the Imperium and the Chaos have at this battle. I'm going to start with the Imperium, Defenders of Sanguine Terror. You can see the Adeptus Ministorum, the Canonettes are there, the Order Militant element, the Order of Adeptus Sororitas, the wider Adeptus Ministorum element. The Adeptus Astartes chapters really stands out to me. So the main chapter that is being involved in this battle is the Guardians of the Covenant chapter. These are a successor chapter of the Dark Angels. You have Master Arvin Nadreth, that's why I'm pronouncing it, Lieutenant Juriel Haven, Interrogated Chaplain Surion. There's 18 First Company Battle Brothers of the Secret Order, 219 Battle Brothers of the 3rd, 4th, and 7th Companies, 34 supporting armored vehicles, Fires of Septus Strike Cruiser, 5 Gladius-class frigates, 11 Hunter-class destroyers, and there's also other Space Marine chapters there as well. You've got the Strike Force Consulus, which are the Ultramarines, Sons of Medusa have a Strike Force there, Blood Angels have a Strike Force, Fomenters, Colossus of Kronos, and the Wolf Spear also are there as well. The Sons of Rus are there. You've got knightly lances there, you know, all the houses, the House Tyrannis, House Terran, etc. They're all there. You can see how much they've got, 4, 2, 5 lances. Astra Militarum, you've got Cadian Shock Troops, you've got Krieg, Yanish Fire Lancers, Scorlian Brigandites, mate. There's just so much forces that I hear. I absolutely love that they've done this breakdown of what is actually taking part. Sanguinary Terror Defense Militars, Adeptus Mechanicus, there's Titan houses there, Voidfaring elements. You can actually see that Sanguinary Terror ad hoc flotilla under Captain Fulgrim of, Fulvian, not Fulgrim, Fulvian of the Sons of Medusa. He's basically leading one of the big fleet elements when the invaders actually come to Sanguinary Terror. And of course, on the other side of this coin is the invaders of the Gauntlet, and you have the Herald's Host, which of course is Harken Worldclaimer. You've got the Black Legion there with all its vessels. You've got the Night Lords, 17 capital vessels, 84 escort vessels, 350 plus drop ships, other Legion elements. The Emperor's Children are there, Iron Warriors, Word Bearers, Thousand Sons, estimated 76 warships in the service of these warbands, Renegade Militia, the Worldclaimers Vanguard. You've got like Knights, House Mandracore is the main Knight house. They were also featured in the Gauntlet, which featured in big battles before that. But you can see it all there. The invaders of the Gauntlet, really, really awesome breakdown that they've included in this, because then we can visualize what is actually there and what units are there and regiments are there. So it just brings, you know, a little bit of more imagination to life. It's a great, great thing that Games Workshop have done, and I'm hoping that they carry on this trend in future Crusade books and battle books and start listing all the forces that we used. Now onto the story, and this all starts with Harken Worldclaimer sending agents onto the planet of Sanguinary Terror, human agents dressed as pilgrims and refugees going into the main bulk of the Imperial civilization. Once they're on the planet, they then cause riots and civil unrest, basically to cause as much damage and panic as possible, so the Imperial defenders would be stretched thin in their defenses when the initial invasion does start. Harken and his fleet breach at multiple locations in the Sanguis system. This, by the way, is one of the coolest descriptions of space combat I've had in a long time. I'm a massive fan of space combat, and this book does absolute justice to this. They use like stolen Imperial ships to falsely approach like Imperial blockades, like sending like their codes and stuff like that. And before the Imperial ships can react, they're engaged and absolutely destroyed by the forces of Harken Worldclaimer, which is epic. It's like a secret way to get in. This is just one of many naval engagements, of course. There's another huge battle happens. Harken's fleet moves into the system. More Imperial ships join. Again, the Sons of Medusa captain joins, and there's a massive battle. But Harken's fleet is just too strong. It's just too massive to stop. They have like the Planet Killer a part of their stuff. There's a massive battle. The ships exploding, the boarding ships, the ripping ships apart. The heaven is on fire even before he's touched the ground of Sanguinary Terror. Now, with the naval engagement more or less won in the favor of chaos, Harken's fleet slowly close in on Sanguinary Terror from all sides and prepare for their invasion of the planet. The Chaos fleet begins to bombard the planet, focusing on areas that most of the invasion fleet would be landing, so they're clearing big wide sections, but also concentrating their fire on the big Imperial defenses to weaken them down for the first stages of the invasion. Now, once the last shell is fired from the orbital bombardment, the sky then turns black with the forces of chaos descending from the heavens. But it all wasn't in the favor of chaos. The Ultramarines dug themselves in, and they begin to fight back, taking on the Black Legionnaires of the Crimson Claw. Tempestor Scion Shrike Squadrons flank column after column in low-flying Valkyrie gunships, bringing as much devastation and destruction as they could to the traitors. Harken himself then deploys with his Gloom Talons for the most important of objectives to make sure the planet falls into his hands. Harken wants to take the key objectives like the spaceport, and these are being defended by none other than the Sisters of Battle, who are being reinforced with their mass amount of numbers. Harken first takes to the battle and fights these. A huge battle between Harken's Gloom Talons and the Sisters begin, fire, bolt, blade, they're all unleashed. The city rings out in terror as the Night Lords descend from the heavens and start purging everyone they see. As it seemed that the forces of chaos were winning this battle and about to take the key objective, flames erupt from the sister lines as they begin to burn the heretic before this huge cathedral to the Holy Emperor, and the traitor forces begin to fall back. The flames grow higher and higher above the cathedral, and a light then flares. A ray of energy spread from it, and winged battle sisters drove in to the ranks of Harken World Claimers Gloom Talons. Leading this charge was none other than Celestine, the living saint herself. And if we jump to another battle which features Space Marines, because there's so many battles happening across the planet, Nidef, the senior commander of the Space Marine chapter Guardians of the Covenant, leads his battle brothers against the forces of the World Claimer. Land speeders bikes dove straight into the lines of the Chaos forces, meeting their furious push, breaking the Chaos lines. Just as the Space Marines begin to break the Chaos and they begin to retreat, the Chaos forces are then joined by Chaos Knights, who then proceed to break the Space Marine advance. Nadef fought like a mystic knight, power fist and bolt carbine, bringing down foe after foe that stood before him. Marine, demon, cultist, none can stand before the commander of the Space Marines. Now, even though the Guardians of the Covenant held their own, Commander Nadef of the 3rd Company orders his battle brothers to fall back. The forces of chaos are just too many to handle. The battle itself then begins to turn in the favor of chaos. Celestine falls back with the sisters. A general evacuation order is given. Celestine remains as a rearguard, so most of the defenders could safely get to the extraction point as she fights the bulk of the chaos forces. The Space Marines of the Guardian of the Covenant order their own ships to swoop down and extract them. The Chaos Knights, seeing this, begin to turn back and head towards a new battlefield. They put their fire upon the loyalist Titan legions, who are now cut off, and they cannot make the extraction site. So they're in a glorious last stand, firing everything. Fire all the weapons. There's explosions, there's fire. They're purging as much chaos as they can. We get this amazing scene where one of the loyalist reavers is brought down, and then a warlord who has lost his shield is getting absolutely battered. Then out of nowhere, a bloodthirster erupts on the battlefield, and he charges the warlord titan. Blood for the blood god. He gets on its head of the warlord titan. He begins smashing it apart, ripping it apart, and just as he opens it up and he sees the princeps and his crew, the princeps orders the generator, the actual power cores of the warlord to overload, exploding it, ripping the warlord titan apart, killing the bloodthirster, and wiping out tens of thousands of chaos forces around the warlord titan. He goes down in a blaze of fire, which is the only way to go if you're fighting in the name of the Emperor of mankind. With the forces of the Imperium falling back and extracting, it seems that Harken World Claimer has achieved a massive victory. Sanguine terror is falling into the hands of chaos, if not already fallen into the hands of chaos. From my understanding, Vigilus is about to fall to Abbadon, so they got to control the northern bit, and Sanguine Terror is about to fall to Harken World Claimer. They've got to control the southern bit, which means chaos now are going to control the Nachmund Gauntlet. This could be massive for future developments in the 40k lore, because with that passage now cut off, the Imperium has to find other means of getting across the Great Rift. Of course, there is some stories out there. The Dawn of Fire series is exploring a new path, which is going to be discovered by the Imperial forces. For people who have been reading that, you know what's going on in that book. But we're finally moving a little bit forward now with the lore, with Chaos winning and taking, well, I see it as them winning and taking the Nachmund Gauntlet. They have achieved success. This is an absolute masterful victory from Abbadon and the forces of Chaos. And yeah, that's where we are right now. Maybe we'll get some more books going forward in the future where the Imperial forces try and take back Sanguil Prime or reinforce it and then go back to Vigilus and stuff like that. We have no idea where we're going to go with this now. Of course, Segmentum Pacificus is alight with Tyranids, and there's rumours about the 11th edition Orc narrative. There's so much going on, but I very, 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 very much enjoyed this book. I briefly just gone over some of the main story elements. If you're into the lore, go out and buy the Nachmund Gauntlet book. It's an incredible read. It has some fantastic lore in there. Definitely 110% recommend it just for the lore itself. Thank you for coming. Thank you for watching this video. If you've got any thoughts, feedback, comments, anything like that, post it down below and we'll have a little chinwag down there as we always do. See you now. Have a great day and bye-bye.